Hey, listen, consistent podcaster, trying to get it done. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the What's on Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Brinson. Listen, I'm so glad that Jay Z decided to do what he did. I think it's Saturday and Sunday, but for the Saturday show, listen, you see it from the title already. But just if you had any guess on what we started with today, Jay Z. I'm not calling a nigga Hov. I'm sorry. I'm Chris. Jesus is my Jehovah. But shout out Hov. Jay Z is back, dog. Listen, I can't believe that at 23 years old, I still live through a period where I can live through historic Jay Z moments in hip hop. For those of you who don't know, Jay Z has he's been doing interviews a bit lately. Some interviews have released an interview released earlier this year, but this weekend of the time we're recording this on the Sunday, he's doing a Roots picnic. So he's doing like two concerts, and he did one yesterday with the Roots where he brought out other artists. I saw he brought out Jasmine Sullivan, Mickeal. But what we here for, the main topic, during the performance, he performed a lot of songs and he started to freestyle. He released a freestyle where it's so funny. I tweeted, this nigga Jay Z, respectfully, was on some like fake humble and not saying he can't change his mind. I'm a big advocate. Everybody, people can change their mind. But on some like, we don't need battling in hip hop, it ain't really necessary for the culture. But like the Jay Z impression. Like he in this freestyle, bang, 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 shooting at everybody that had his name in his mouth, and Jay Z in this freestyle responded back and dissed a lot of people in this freestyle. Mainly, ironically, mainly 2/3 of Young Miami and Drake and Nicki Minaj. And we go get into it. Listen, he shot at Drake, Nicki, Kanye, uh, allegedly. All this is alleged. None of this is confirmed. He says a couple people name, but none of this is confirmed. This is all interpretation, and this is all alleged. This is how one of these niggas, the main nigga I named, be in this suing shit. Uh, but allegedly, Jay Z shot at Drake, Nicki Minaj, Kanye, Tory Lanez, Tony Busby, the lawyer dude, responded to the Epstein rumors. Um, and in that same shot at MAGA. Listen, Jay Z's been on a tear. And listen, y'all know how we get down. Y'all know with all of these episodes, we definitely try to make sure we still rolling. Definitely looking at the time. And shout out you guys. Definitely gonna make sure everything right. Hold on. Shout out to audio listeners. Shout out to ASMR listeners. Listen, if you know, you know. Shout out to Vaseline. And shout out, the camera is still recording. Y'all know how we get down around here. But um, shout out the audience, shout out you guys. And I can't believe, like I was mentioning earlier, I get to look at my computer and break down Jay Z bars from a freestyle where he's responding to people. And he goes throughout the freestyle, he starts talking about how, I'm assuming somebody close to him. I think he said Hetty or somebody close. They're reaching old age, or reaching 100 years old, and if I wouldn't have got a chance to clear my name, I would have hunted them. Like they reaching 100, and if I ain't clear my name, I would have hunted them. And he goes throughout the freestyle. First of all, he combed out the locks. We got Afro Jay Z. We got like this nigga looking like he belong in the Roots. Like, and he had a Roots bar in there too to create the roots, even with the trees. Like, dog, that nigga Jay crazy. But he goes throughout the freestyle, locks out. Now Jay Z got an afro. Now I feel like he should keep the afro. Niggas was being anti-black, saying like, "Oh, the afro look bad." Niggas always be on Jay Z dick, and it's crazy because for all the allegations that be on Jay Z, most, if not all of them, are like disproven, and it's funny. But I feel like the Afro's cool, and he's going throughout the freestyle, and he there was a lot of shots for Drake in there. This was mainly a Drake diss with a lot of he showed Drake, even though I think Drake did it pretty well in terms of shooting at multiple people, but I think the main flaw in what how Drake did it is the main target he could have shot more at in Kendrick. But in terms of Jay-Z, even though he shot at multiple people, he made it very clear that he was responding to Drake. He starts off. I quoted a lot of the lyrics here to remember each diss, but he starts off towards the middle of the freestyle. He says, "Nigga, it's gonna cost a B for you to even say my name. Say my name. Say my Destiny Child. Say my name. Beyonce. So we got Destiny Child because niggas act like it didn't start with Kendrick in terms of like interpreting lyrics and giving all these niggas entendres. It started with niggas like Eminem and Jay Z. This nigga says it's gonna cost a B for you to say my name. Jay Z's a billionaire. Beyonce's a billionaire. B say my name, talking about Beyonce and the song "Say My Name," and he's literally it's gonna cost $1 billion. If he respond back, it's gonna cost a lot, and then he goes on to talk about how Drake's contract. So we can argue that's a quintuple entendre just off him saying it costs a B for you to say my name. So he goes on rapping in the freestyle, and then I tried to quote. I didn't quote him each word for word, but I tried to quote it in order. So he starts off on Drake. He spins back on Drake, but he starts off on Drake, goes to Kanye West, and he starts talking about how like my children is my wonder kid. You trying to talk about my children? That's crazy. You trying to get under skin? I'll really go under skin. Ask how I'm coming. Now listen, I'm 23 years old. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm Rivera. Again, I'm a journalist. I try to do as much research as possible. Rivera and Jay Z, their situation. I don't know who the fuck Rivera is. I don't know what the fuck Jay Z talking about. That nigga had a battle rap type baritone. Some you trying to get under skin. I really get under skin to stab. Come on. I don't know who Rivera. I don't know about that. I'm not gonna see her like you. But allegedly it was some shit. I ain't gonna talk about it. I don't know about it. But he continues that scheme because he stayed on Kanye for a minute. And you talking about my kids. You trying to get under my skin. I really go under skin. Then he talks about how like y'all think he manic. Like y'all think he crazy. When he's in my presence, y'all think he's insane. When he's in my presence, he acts sane. He shrinks. I need to get a new therapist. This shit not work. Manic, insane, sane. He shrinks like a shrink. I need a new therapist. The whole little quick scheme getting Kanye out of here. Like, nigga, you talked about my kids, and y'all think he crazy. In front of me, that nigga got his sense. But it's crazy you talking about my kids. Like that and what's ill about these lines is he's getting niggas out of here with this line. Like he don't need to do a whole 5 to 10 minute diss track on all these niggas, or he don't need to individually diss these niggas. He got a freestyle off the dome while I'm performing, 3 minutes, getting y'all niggas out of here clean. So, so people debating who got it worse. I saw somebody say Kanye got it worse, and Kanye did get a nice little scheme that I just explained. But listen, that nigga, especially with I'm giving Jay. If you don't know this, I'm a Jay Z fan, and by the way, I'm pretty sure I've addressed this on this platform before. But in the spirit of acknowledging bad takes or takes that just age bad or just opinions that changed, there was once a time where I actually wasn't a lot hip to Jay Z and Beyonce's music, and I'm like, listen, I don't really understand the hype on Jay Z and Beyonce. I think they're a little overrated. I did my due diligence. I learned, and as y'all see, I'm a Jay Z and shout out Beyonce, shout out B. I'm a big fan of them. I'm pretty sure I've said that, but just in case niggas ever try to go back, especially the Drake stands, because they be on my dick too, and I'm killing Drake again in this. So just in case every niggas try to spin back and be like, well, actually, niggas, people change their mind, people learn. So while Jay Z is going through this, and the reason why I went on that point is because I mentioned I'm a Jay Z fan. I'm giving him all the entendres. people started digging on this next diss, and the person he dissed, and was like, listen, y'all niggas really need to understand how bad he just did Nicki Minaj. So at first I thought the lyric was just bad in itself. But for extra context, apparently Nicki Minaj has a track record sometimes stuttering on stage. So in this, and again, disclaimer, I'm not making fun of people with disabilities. I'm on the spectrum. I have my own disability. So it isn't me making fun of people with stuttering problems. I don't want it to come off like that. With that being said, this nigga Jay-Z, he paused. He like, that lady back on her stuff again. Her kin can't even take the kid. Enough of that. Dog. So according to a lot of people, he was stuttering on purpose to make fun of Nicki. And then this nigga said that lady back on her stuff again because of people allegedly, or people claim that allegedly Nicki Minaj be on that. Her kin can't even. Some people felt like he said her king, but dog, her kin can't. If especially the clear audio, it sounded like he says kin because she called herself Barbie. Her kin, her Barbie, her kin can't even. And then he stutters, and even not even if he's not stuttering on purpose, Jay-Z does that with his flows, where he be like, "You barely been to the." That's another topic. You barely been to the Bahamas, but that's another. He cuts it off. So he still cuts off. Your kin can't even take your kid. Enough of it. Because for those of you who may not know, Nicki Minaj's husband is a certified lover boy, certified weird case. He can't go around, allegedly, he can't go around playgrounds. So that's what because yeah, do your research. Nicki and her brother, they be on some weird stuff. But that's what Jay-Z was alleged to. So he goes through that. And technically, again, Lil Wayne is lucky he escaped this because he cooked Young Money because he continues to go back. Now we back to Drake. He like, no rapper can be my op. Oh yeah, no, we are on this. I wanted to make no rapper can be my op. I got MAGA Republicans. Them shots came from the government. I'm covered by God. You trying to shoot up the covenant. Like that nigga Jay is crazy. The rap scheme, I'm in it. Or no rapper could be my op out of the Republicans, government, under that rhyme scheme. And then he continues getting that Drake. And by the way, this is on my topic list too. So to merge some topics, we still on the Jay-Z freestyle, trust me. I know if it feel like I'm bouncing, I'm not. It all aligns. I'm giving you the breakdown. So Drake broke Mickeal Jackson's record for most hits from a solo artist. And even though I'm hating off the quotation marks, the record is his record. It is, shout out him. And Janice Shut the Fuck Up is a fire. It's fire. It's the best song on the album in my opinion. And in that song, first of all, people thinking he dissing Joe because in one pod Joe called himself Janice, and so and in that sentence it was said shut the fuck up, and then he starts off saying buried alive, someone come dig me up. Joe Budden had to call him a corpse as well. I mean, again, the Pie fans was theorizing, but he's also dissing Kendrick Lamar, and then I even missed he even disses Jay-Z. Buried alive, someone can dig me up. You boys got big off my name. The jig is up. The jig is up. And then I think I don't know if they got a song. The jig is up, or I don't know if it's Jay-Z or Jay and Drake that got the song The Jigga's Up, but obviously if you're not familiar, or if it's probably not obvious, Jay-Z calls himself Jigga. That's another nickname. So Drake saying The Jig is up, Jigga's up, didn't catch that. And some people would even say that to reach if later on in the album, Drake literally just name drops Jay-Z and says, y'all niggas be going to Hove for a second opinion. So it's a clear diss. And then in Too Hard for the Radio, Too Hard for the Radio, he says, niggas island hopping back then. Now niggas really got a fact check. Pusha and Jay-Z diss because there was a fake uh, list that came out that said like Jay-Z and Pusha was in files, but it was fake or like they didn't, their names were just mentioned, like people just said their names, so they weren't actually on the weird shit. But obviously Drake also dissed Kendrick for the 100 million stream shit that was also fake. So he clearly don't care about fact checking, which that's his point, and that's a fair angle if you want to take that. But I mentioned all that. Jay-Z heard that, and the next line after the covenant, y'all trying to hit the covenant, he said, "The jig is up. I'm up 10. Y'all looking at the wrong charts." Like, nigga, the jig is up. I'm up 10. Y'all looking at the wrong charts. Niggas looked up to me. I never looked up to them. And that's just a fly ass bar. But what a lot of the point of why people like Jay-Z is, especially since he an old ass nigga, the nigga like 60. And he was rapping since the nigga got song with Biggie, you know. Like Jay been rapping for a long time, and Jay has made it known, and it's provable through his career. He be telling the truth. That nigga got on a song and said, "I said no to the Super Bowl. You need me. I don't need you. Tell the NFL we in stadiums." And then after that, now he's the nigga that playing the Super Bowl shit. Like the nigga JB talk. So when he say I'm up 10, y'all looking at the wrong charts. Niggas looked up to me. I never looked up to them. Go back and do your research on what everybody say about Jay-Z. It just not even because sometimes people say you can't diss a nigga that you once looked up to. That's finicky because it depends on what happens. But it does look bad when you're once praising a nigga and then dissing a nigga. I thought of the example of like it feel like when it feel like Drake. You know how they say don't grow up and meet your idols. It feel like Drake grew up, met his idols, didn't fuck with them, was bitter from that, and then now is dissing them all the time. Which you can make an argument, okay, that's fair, that happens sometimes. But Drake be the nigga that be starting shit with his idols. Like, nigga looked up to Joe Budden. Joe Budden fucked with him. He fucks Joe's girl, and then according to Joe, okay, cool. But then when Joe has an opinion on his music, now you hurt. But yeah, you going behind my back. Okay, fine. He claimed to not. I don't know what his issue with Jay-Z is, actually, to be honest. I actually don't know what the fuck his problem is with Jay. The point is, Drake claimed that he be targeted so much, but yet he's the one that allegedly starts these problems. So for Jay-Z to get this nigga a nice little quick few bars, you was dissing me all on your album. And Jay, let's say Jay actually felt the whole there's no need for battling and dissing the hip hop shit. He tried to be like, that's why the line of I need a new therapist. This shit not working. Cause Jay trying to be on some chill. If we taking Jay for his word, trying to be on some chill shit, be like, you know what? It's no big deal. I'm 60. I don't need to be dissing no more. And then this nigga dissing me multiple times, including dropping my name on his latest project and the song that just went number one. Matter of fact, even if it ain't a diss, he name dropped me on the album, and the song that just went number one of his saying the jig is up. What the fuck you mean the jig is up? Nigga, I'm up. Jig ain't up. That's just a fly at that dog. I I said to myself once I found out like apparently that was supposed to be a Jay-Z diss. Hey, that's a nice ass flip because that was a sneaky ass bar. I didn't catch that. I can never hear that bar the same though without hearing that flip because it's a quick flip. It's not the most oh my god complex. He said the jig is up. But it's a quick ass rebuttal to be like the jig is up, nigga. I'm up. I'm a billionaire. A rapper can't be my op. I got the government on my back. Like, do you understand? And again, all rappers try to son people. All rappers try to little bro people. It's different when it's a nigga who's actually a billionaire. He's telling the truth. I saw somebody try to tell Mickey facts, and shout out Mickey Facts, phenomenal battle rapper, phenomenal rapper, and phenomenal artist. He made the nigga nice. It's not just one, because people try to box people in sometimes. Shout out Mickey Facts. Somebody tried to tell Mickey Facts out of all people that Drake. The first part what he said is cool. Drake and Jay-Z would be a cool, good battle. That's fine. He tried to tell Mickey Facts that Jay-Z can't little bro Drake. He can't out money or success Drake. Mickey Facts responded to that nigga like, again, we have to remind y'all, Jay-Z is a billionaire with a B. He's, first of all, he's married to Beyonce. It's two flexes. And Beyonce got $1 billion herself. Baby money. You niggas don't even got my baby's money. Like, it's Jay-Z. It's not many people that can love bro Jay-Z. Now, but what I will say, again, shout out Screwface John. Hip hop is my bias. Especially, I'm an Eminem fan. Jay-Z's not untouchable. Jay-Z, we know Nas exists. Like, Jay-Z can lose in a battle. If there's any nigga like similar to Drake that can lose in a battle, it's Jay-Z. Jay-Z had the biggest L in hip hop before niggas like Ja Rule and 50, and then now Drake, the nigga sued. So it's like, if it's two niggas that know about taking a big L in hip hop, it's these two. But like, and I do genuinely think it'd be a good back and forth. But like, respectfully, if you could, like Kendrick said, you better off spinning on Pusha if you better off fucking with me. Like, if you couldn't fuck with Pusha, if you couldn't fuck with Kendrick, and not disrespectfully, these are legends. If you couldn't fuck with Pusha, if you couldn't fuck with Kendrick, Drake, I don't think Drake, even before 2024, I don't think Drake can fuck with Jay-Z. The problem with Jay-Z, even in the Nas battle, like even with Renegade and even with the Nas battle, people act like Jay-Z got obliterated to the point where he didn't put up a good fight. Just making sure. Shout out the new apartment, making sure my baby, making sure Wanda not walking in. But Jay-Z put up a great fight in the Nas battle. And the verses on Renegade are really great. Like, even though Eminem, look at me, even though Eminem clearly got the better verses, Jay-Z's verses on Renegade are really good. Look at me one more time. Even though Nas destroyed Jay-Z in that battle, Takeover is a really good diss. Like, Takeover is a really good diss. So the problem and the difficulty when it comes with Jay-Z, especially battling him, Jay-Z's really funny and Jay-Z's really sarcastic. So when you get a nice ass flip, like the jig is up, the boy you over my name, the jig is up, the OG's coming, like, you can get some slick shit. And again, from Drake, Drake also has those characteristics. You can get some slick shit off, and all Jay-Z got to do is be like, the jig is up. I'm up. You looking at the wrong charts. Like, you worrying about that again. I went on that whole rant about Drake breaking the record because Jay-Z, like, y'all worrying about that record shit. I have $1 billion. Hold on, duh. Again, let me make sure I'm recording. Please let me make sure I'm recording still. Because see, that's the reason why I do what I do. That's the reason why I check and see if I'm still recording, because ironically, I wasn't still recording. And when I checked that time, actually, it's crazy. It was still recording. And like, as I still sat down, it must have stopped because I checked again and I wasn't still recording. But to continue what I was saying, and again, just to make sure I'm still recording, okay, still rolling, okay. To finish what I was saying, I just genuinely can't believe that I lived through a time period, like I've mentioned a few times, that I can live through a Jay-Z freestyle where he's shooting back and dissing people. Like, where I left off in the last point, like, Jay-Z, if I'm Jay-Z and a nigga like Drake did to me, I would be saying to myself too, like I have $1 billion. Like what? Like a rapper can't be my like. No, I get it, bro. So shout out Jay Z again. I really hope a new album is coming. If not, I mean, again, he gave us so much with this freestyle. All it took was one freestyle to show like it's levels to this shit. Like it's truly levels to this shit. Like um, I don't know if it made the first recording, so I'll make sure to repeat it here. Like, if you're asking me, if I'm answering and I gave and I'll retell it here, like a quick explanation as to why. Like, if you're asking based off my sentiment, my emotion, my greatest rapper of all time, I would say is Eminem. Eminem is my favorite rapper if I'm answering from this perspective. As not only do I just love his ability and the music he makes, but even though I grew up in a pretty strict household, my parents, if it was three rappers, my parents and my dad, mainly my dad, made sure he introduced me to and showed me was Eminem, Tupac, and Lil Wayne. Crazy three to be in a strict household and then show me those three rappers. But for them to end up showing me those three rappers, like that's a crazy coincidence. Crazy how that played out. But um, I always think of my dad, have that attachment to my dad when I think of Eminem's music. But if I'm answering based off the black, based off my skin, my melanin, like it's the Jay Z is the greatest of all time. It's Jay Z and Kendrick, 1A, 1B in terms of my blackness, and then Eminem in terms of my sentiment, my faith, and just my personal when I think of my personal bias. But I'm grateful to be 23 years old and still sitting here through a time where Jay Z is freestyling and dissing people. And as I was recording this episode, I was able to catch the beginning of WWE Clash in Italy, and um, I hadn't been. I've been making sure to keep up with the WWE. Shout out people like Santi Zab, Sancho West, the Wrestling is Cool podcast. Shout out Sancho as just an individual creator. Shout out people like Simon Miller. Um, gosh, I'm blanking on. Trying to name. I'm not trying to leave people out, but shout out the internet wrestling community. Even though as a whole, the internet wrestling community be on some bullshit sometimes. But a lot of the creators, shout out a lot of you guys for making the wrestling content you do, and even similar to me, because I guess it still counts as wrestling content. Making sure to keep wrestling alive and wrestling interesting, especially when the product itself isn't producing the most interesting content. But their build up to Clash of Italy hasn't been the worst, hasn't been too bad. And the pay per view started off, it didn't start off awful. I mean, when I turned it on, I started, when I first put it on, Cody Rhodes is in a chokehold with Gunther. And spoiler alert for people who, at the time of this recording, haven't watched the Clash of Italy preview, pay per view. But the match, Cody Gunther, the match ended a little weird. I'm gonna be honest. So whether it was a bot, it watching it live, I had like a buffer type of reaction because I was confused because it looked like a botch live. Knowing WWE and how they've been as a product, like they've uh they've and I realized I didn't have my hat on that. Shout out people who would peep the continuity error. But well, yeah, it would be a contest because I was about to say at least I went off, and at least it's not a jump cut. That'd be so bad. I would literally stop it again if it would have been a jump cut. At least I went off camera and then came back. I didn't have it on, but I just put it back on. But so knowing the WWE, this decision could have been on purpose, but it looked like a botch to where Cody Rhodes went for the pin. And apologies if you guys hear any barking or anything like that. But Cody Rhodes went for the pin, and he as he grabs Gunther's first leg, Gunther's second leg is kind of like, even visually looking at the TV, but obviously on our end, it's kind of, his leg kind of on the off camera side. And as he reaches for the pin, the other Gunther's other leg reaches the bottom rope. And for people who aren't familiar with WWE context and who maybe don't watch wrestling, when in a standard match or a regular match with regular stipulations, when a wrestler puts their foot on the bottom rope, that's supposed to stop the pinfall or submission, and that's the ref is supposed to stop the match and stop that moment and allow the match to continue on, but stop the pinfall or the submission. The referee instead continued the pinfall and stopped the match in its entirety and gave Cody Rhodes the win. And Gunther reacted in a way he immediately he's like, wait, the bottom rope, like my foot, like what's going on? And the replay does show Gunther's foot was clearly it was under and then on the bottom rope. The pinfall should have been stopped and Cody shouldn't have been declared the winner. But Cody was given the pinfall, and I'm not the hugest fan of the ending because even from the point I saw, the match felt really dull. It felt like a really dull ending. And then shout out Santi's that people I went to his stream, people in his chat were saying like that was it in its entirety for the match. And it really felt like an underwhelming end, especially for a Cody Gunther match. And it puts this is the problem that WWE has created with themselves and Gunther, because since they allowed this nigga to retire John Cena, AJ Styles, and Goldberg, and since they placed the career killer moniker on him, now it's put them in a position to where, in theory, he can't lose. And a lot of times what happens in the WWE, they try to, when they put superstars on this high of a pedestal, they try to protect them. So in this context, that means, either having them remain undefeated, or when they lose in a way to where, oh, you had to throw the kitchen sink, you had to throw the refrigerator at him to make sure that he lost. And that didn't really happen with Gunther. He just really lost clean, lost for referee botch. And if it was a botch or if it was the correct decision and it's a storyline botch, it's a pretty dull ending, at least in my opinion. And I relate it sort of to when sometimes writers or mangakas, when sometimes they have the problem of creating the overpowered character to where the character is too strong and then now they got to find a way to write them out the story so they get a random sickness or they get put in a box. Peep the shirt I was wearing last episode. But it really puts them in a tough position to where now we get an ending like this, to where now Cody Rhodes is still the champion. I don't have nothing wrong with that. But what does this do for Gunther's character? Does this affect his character? Was this a botch? Was this on purpose? Does that get figured out? I mean, sometimes we don't really know that, but sometimes those plans get revealed. I mean, very peculiar ending, I'd say the least. But as the show continued on, and it's so funny because shout out wrestlers Michin and B-Fab, who will be in the next match I talk about. Dog, I think it was Michin. Bro, she was a Jade Cargill instinctive save away from messing up the next match. And we would have had two matches messed up with the bottom rope situation. And I explained it earlier because we then get into Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. And shout out Jade Cargill. People have been trying to say like, oh, Jade Cargill has had a longer time to progress in the business and learn the business. And listen, I've been a fan of Jade since day one. I saw her in WWE and I was a bit familiar with her from AEW. And I think she was she was on the Joe Budden podcast recently, and I think she said Mark Henry discovered her. Shout out Mark Henry. If I am remembering correctly, and that is true, Mark Henry has always been a great scout for black talent and just for talent in general in the WWE. I think he has a story of putting Daniel Bryan on. Like, it's a very keen eye and talent Mark Henry has. And we get into this match with Rhea Ripley, and like I said, Jade Cargill has been cooking for the past, like at least if you want to say she's been improving as of recent, ever since she wrestled Jordan Grace, Jade Cargill been hooping. And the Mania match with Rhea Ripley was cold, and this match that I caught with the Clash of Italy match, this match was cold as well. To where Jay, you can really show, even the announcer said it. Like Michael Cole announced, like you can really see Jade Cargill's maturation process as she continues to wrestle in the business. And both her, Rhea, and Ripley are $1,000,000, and they're stars. They're already mega stars, especially Rhea Ripley with the presence she brings the moment she comes out, especially with a crowd like the Italy crowd. Both her and Jade stole the show, especially with it being the second match following the WWE title match. I think Jade and Rhea put on a great performance. I think they put on a better performance, at least from what I saw between Cody and Gunther. It was a really good match between Jade and Rhea overall. And after that, I was able to catch but the Obafemi and Brock Lesnar rematch, to where the WWE was branding the rematch between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar as like the biggest rematch in sports history and biggest rematch in a while, most anticipated rematch. And so if you recall back to a previous episode of when I talked about it, Obafemi seemingly retired Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but Brock Lesnar ended up coming back. And he, like I mentioned, I hadn't been watching WWE too consistently in the most recent weeks. That's why I hadn't mentioned it in the last episode. But I was keeping up with it, and then I saw Obafemi just on a random episode of Raw attack Brock Lesnar attacked Obafemi, and Brock Lesnar's back, I guess. And we get to a point to where Obafemi and Brock Lesnar are now rematching in Italy. And it's funny because as the match was starting, I was like, okay, I was cleaning up a bit. I was preparing the pod, and I'm like, let me take the trash out real quick. And I'm thinking to myself, let me hurry up because what's gonna happen? Knowing the WWE, knowing I've been watching wrestling for a long time, Brock might fuck around and attack Oba while she or the announcer is announcing Oba's name, and then I'm still miss the match, and it's gonna end that quick, bro. I was this close to being right. As I come back, I waited until at least Oba was announced. He doing the strut. He walking down. He gets in the ring. I'm like, bet, let me take the trash out. It's right outside the crib. I walk out, run, take the trash out. I'm coming back in. Literally, she gets done saying Obafemi's name because they waited till they got in the ring, and then I'm assuming Brock went first. They announced him first, or Paul announced him first, and then they announced Oba. And just as she finishes Oba's name, he turns around. Brock Lesnar runs up, attacks him. Boom. F5, 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 F5. 4 F5 straight. And I'm thinking, bro, please don't let this be a squash match and it end that quick. A squash match is when one opponent squashes or beats the other opponent really fast. Obafemi kicks out. And I'm like, all right, we at least get a longer match. And I don't know how the copyright laws be, so I ain't go through the whole start to finish. But Brock Lesnar gets him in an arm lock, gets him in a Kimura lock. Looks like Obafemi go tap. This nigga Oba's managed to kind of lift this nigga off like one arm. Boom, slams Brock Lesnar. It gets to a point where it gets outside the ring. Obafemi looks like he about to hit a choke slam. Brock Lesnar reverses it. Another F5. This time through the announcer table with Obafemi. Thinking the match about to end. Oba sitting there gone. Next thing you know, this nigga Oba like walk to the ring. Bro, me and Brock Lesnar was looking like, bro, what is up with this nigga? Obafemi gets some offense. It looks like Obafemi's about to make the comeback. Very last second, as Obafemi first, he got some offense, boom, hitting him, scooped Brock Lesnar, picked him up, boom, threw him. I ain't gonna throw. I was gonna reenact that. I ain't gonna throw nothing. Grabs Brock Lesnar, throws him, and We think Obafemi's about to win. He prepares Brock Lesnar for the finisher. Brock Lesnar gets the reverse, scoops Obafemi. At this point, I thought it was a 6. 7th F5. 1, 2, 3. Brock gets a little win or whatever. And again, it's sort of an awkward position, at least for me, to as I react to the match, because it's like there's a net in here, so I'm looking like, where's the bug? Just flew somewhere, but it gets to a point to where the second match was good. It wasn't really needed, at least in my opinion, to where the feeling I get away from it is like, okay, now the third match has to be the best one out of the three. Because the first match was really good, but then the second match was good, and it kind of dilutes the retirement. But then if the third match is really, really good, and then if Brock, I guess, retires again, that'll make up for it, and it'll be like Oba gets the best 2 out of 3, uh, 2 wins to Brock's 1 type of thing. But it really, I don't know if it shows that the WWE is in a creative block with Obafemi, or some people are saying there may be renegotiations with Brock Lesnar, and that's why he came back. I mean, that's none of my business. I don't know, but hopefully, as long as we're getting the trilogy, and the plan is to put Oba over, and then we get a new path for Obafemi. I mean, that's hopefully that'll be the path they go, and that'll be the best case scenario. At least, like some were already mentioning quickly, for the silver lining of this is that it gets the loss out of the way for Obafemi, because what happens, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes the WWE, I use the writing or anime example, to where sometimes if the character is undefeated, they don't really know how to bring him back down to earth and give him that loss. Now we get this loss out the way. It's someone that's deemed as equal stature, and now we can tell different and more versatile stories with Obafemi, to where you can maybe do something like a Javon Evans, or even though he's smaller, we can get that type of victory off on Oba. And as long as this is in the best interest for Obafemi in the long run, because knowing the WWE, we can never get the third match, and then we just never get the tiebreaker. But um, for the first 3 matches, pretty solid matches. I wasn't able to get the last 3. I started recording my pod, but shout out Clash of Italy. It was definitely a solid show for the first 3 matches so far. After that, it was gonna be Soruka versus Becky Lynch, and then as long as Jacob Fatu wasn't injured, it was gonna be a wrestler named Jacob Fatu, wrestler Roman Reigns, and tribal combat for the World Heavyweight Championship. And that's probably gonna be a pretty good match as long as Jacob wasn't injured. But as we move along, um, listen, what a phenomenal! I said it. I actually, since the I don't remember if it got to the first clip. For the past 2 years, since 2024, at least in my opinion, it's been a great time for hip hop. And right now in 2026, it's what a great time to be a hip hop fan. But I think in right now, what a great time to be a basketball fan as well. Like, what a game 7 that was displayed between the San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder. And I ended up being correct. I mean, listen, this team pissed me off and made me mad. But I predicted that while it was definitely, it still was a tall task, because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he came to play. He played like an MVP. The Spurs and Victor Wembanyama were able to get it done. I mean, I'll even be honest and objective and say, at least for this individual game, Shai Gilgeous finally played like the MVP caliber player he is, and he outplayed Wemby, at least offensively. It looked like he was unguardable, but unfortunately, the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't seem like they came to play with the same intensity that Shai did. People like, I'm a big Alex Caruso fan. Caruso FC is down a lot of points. Caruso struggled. Chet Holmgren struggled. Chet Holmgren is sorry. Chet Holmgren is ass. Like, I don't want to be too disrespectful. I'm going to just leave it there. Like, Chet Holmgren is ass. Like, he is sorry. That was pitiful performance all series from him. And other than Case and Wallace in like the fourth quarter, it really was all Shea for the Thunder. And even though Wemby had struggles offensively, he still had a pretty big enough impact, especially defensively. And shout out De'Aaron Fox, shout out Stephon Castle, shout out, I mean, for Dylan Harper to be a rookie and Victor Wembanyama to be 22 years old going to their first finals. I know that has to be great for them. I mean, Spurs have a core of Wemby, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper probably for the next few years. And Dylan Harper had a move on Shea where he left hand bucket, and I really think this is Wemby's time. I mean, to segue into my prediction with Spurs Knicks, I mean, I think we're seeing the beginning of a great story being written. I mean, let's paint the picture. We have again trying to make sure nobody coming in, but to paint the picture, we have the New York Knicks, who, I mean, even though I've made it clear I've predicted Wemby and the Spurs to win, the New York Knicks could very easily prove people like me wrong. People like Joe Button are very confident, and the city of New York as a whole, they're not afraid. They feel like on the run they're on, they're undefeated on an 11-game win streak after beating the Atlanta Hawks, and they're not phased. On the other end, we have the San Antonio Spurs, where I give the example to where it seemed both teams understand that the job isn't finished and there's one more hurdle to climb over. But we almost get two different parallels to where Victor Wembanyama and the entire Spurs team. I mean, you see Wemby, his big self, crying over people. He hugging people. He's so excited. He's so joyful to be there, and it really feels like the story of the young stars emerging. I mean, shout out people like my dad. He did it with Nicole, people like Jokic, where like, hey, it seemed like that Jokic guy, he's gonna be really great. And earlier in the season, similar to that, he was saying like the Spurs, like, yeah, they seem young, but they might be ready now. Like they might be ready to make their impact and handprint on the league right now. And on the other end, the Knicks like this. Knicks looking at them like, listen, we haven't been here since '99, and we've been the laughing stock of the league. We used to be the laughing stock of the league for so long. I mean, shout out people like Langston Galloway, Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, like Jeremy Lin. Like, it's, I think this is the most entertaining outcome for the NBA Finals, and this is phenomenal for basketball. I mean, if the Knicks pull it off, I mean, there literally was a graphic I saw of just Jalen Brunson and Wemby standing next to each other, and it literally looks like this because Wemby's 7'5", Brunson around my height. Like, there are people on both sides who are very confident. There are people on both sides who feel like the other team can't stand a chance. At the end of the day, we're in for phenomenal hoops and great basketball to where Jalen Brunson and the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns, Mickeal Bridges, OG Anunoby, like they're playing a level of basketball. They're playing so good to where people are confused. People are questioning like, wait, is the East just that weak or are the Knicks that good? And in the West, 22-year-old Victor Wembanyama, I mean, the league is in his hands. I feel at the time of this recording, he showcased what he's needed to show that he's the best player in the world. And a championship and especially a finals MVP would just cement that. If Brunson pull it off, he probably already getting a statue, but if Brunson and the Knicks can pull it off, probably this whole team can get a statue. Like with how New York be feeling and with what New York has had to go through in the sports world and as a basketball team, it would be great to see. I mean, I predict that the Spurs are going to be able to take this home in 6. I think, ironically, I do think the Knicks may end up getting humbled on their home court, and it's going to be crazy, bro. The city of New York is going to probably hate Wemby, especially if they do it in 6 and he crying on their home court and he celebrating. It's going to be crazy. But if New York can pull it off, like you have to understand, like I mentioned earlier, they're on a crazy run. They haven't lost a playoff. They're on an 11-game playoff streak. People like Joe Budden are predicting the Knicks in 5, and I think that's an insane prediction. If the Knicks actually pull some shit like that off, like statistically, regardless of feeling, the New York Knicks could go down as one of, if not the greatest championship team of all time, if they can manage to continue the run they're on. Statistically, they're on a record-breaking run for a playoff team. And while I don't think that the New York Knicks are going to be able to pull that off and continue that type of dominance, they're on a dominant run right now, and nothing can be taken away from the New York Knicks. Nothing can be taken away from the San Antonio Spurs, and I think we are in for some great basketball. And just especially since I'd already lost some footage. Let me make sure I'm still recording. It seems like I am, and yeah, I definitely still am. I got confused again. I'm like, well, it's only been for, but luckily we still got the footage rolling. And as I continue going on with my topic list, so to keep it in sport, to keep it in sports a bit. So listen, so it's so crazy. I don't know what the fuck niggas be on sometimes. So we talked in the previous episode about how Adrian Broner and Dean the Great have been on some wild shit on their streams. So so I'm gonna combine these because I can't believe that both of these happened. But in random and crazy news, I have what the fuck next to both of these. So Dean the Great was arrested on a robbery charge, on attempted robbery, and I think he's been let out ever since. But then Kendrick Perkins was seen. This man was almost fighting his son AAU basketball game, and he stood 10 toes on it. So if you look on social media, Kendrick Perkins, it seemed as though that there was an argument that led to Kendrick Perkins. He ended up being having to be held back by a lot of people. And he's a big guy. He's like 7 feet, and he explained his side of the story. Like, hey, I think he said people were threatening somebody on his team, like on his son, because like it was his son's team. I think he runs a team, and then somebody was threatening somebody, and he was about it. And for both of these cases, whether it's Dean the Great or Kendrick Perkins, I do hate sometimes when black men are seen in this type of light and they're unfortunately caught in moments like this because we're human. Isn't it? We shouldn't be put on a pedestal to act like we can't have these moments and can't showcase these type of emotions. But wouldn't want to see a black man in jail and Dean the Great. And then for Kendrick Perkins, he's defending his team's honor, but unfortunately, you never want to see people get out of their body, act out of character like that. But I mean, leave people alone. Again, Dean way too rich. You that nigga way too rich. You way too rich to be robbing people, dog. And then Kendrick Perkins way too big to be fighting niggas. But at the end of the day, dog, let's just stay out of jail. Let's try not to be fighting unless it's professionally. And shit, let's move on. Uh, let's see. Let's see what I want to talk about next. So to keep it in what the fuckville for Twitter, because I'm gonna end off on with Kevin Hart. For the end of this podcast, we definitely end it with Kevin Hart. We definitely addressing that. But as I'm continuing to be on Twitter, I'll get the two quick ones out the way first because so I think her name's Hannah Hoops. Shout out Hannah Hoops. So I think she tweeted Draymond Green. Now to be fair, she did call him the B word. She did call him the B word. She did call him a bitch. And she was like, I think it was because I think she was cheering for the Spurs and they won. I don't know why. It was so weird. This is so random. Like Hannah Hoops is a young lady who is on Twitter. She tweets. She's just a young lady tweeting about basketball, really. And she tweeted at Draymond Green, and she did call Draymond out his name. She wasn't calling him like you a bitch ass nigga, but she was saying like, yeah, go, like where you at now, bit, like something like that. But everybody don't play like that. Everybody don't speak like that. And Draymond Green proceeded to reply under her tweet and said, "I will shut up, or I will crush your babies." Because Hannah has two babies on her Twitter banner. My nigga Draymond, dog, listen. And then to combine these two, Devin Haney, there was a clip of Wiz Khalifa boxing, and he looked straight, but it's Wiz Khalifa. He's not a boxer. Devin Haney go quote tweet telling some this nigga look ass to Draymond Green and Devin Haney. Shut the fuck. Shut like dog. Draymond. First of all, you're Draymond Green. Why are you responding to Hannah Hoops on Twitter? And then if you want to respond, you're human. Cool, dog. People will go on this whole rant on how Draymond need mental help, how he had got anger issues, and then he understandably so defend himself like, nigga, it's just basketball. When you go out of your way to say you're gonna crush someone's babies, and Devin Haney, when you go out of your way to say Wiz Khalifa, a older rapper, not that he that old, but like a old rapper in his 30s, 40s, saying that he can't box, what the fuck do either of y'all gain for that? What do either of y'all gain for that? There is absolutely zero reason for either of these segments to happen. Thank you as a podcaster and give me shit to talk about. There's no reason why Draymond Green should be responding to Hannah Hoop saying she gonna crush the babies in her profile, and why Devin Haney, world champion boxer, is saying Wiz Khalifa is trash. That could have been an opportunity for Devin Haney to reach out to Wiz and see if he needed help and see if he wanted to improve his boxing, make content. That could have been a whole thing. Black Unity. That could have been a whole thing. But now we got Devin Haney going out of his way to shit on Wiz Khalifa for no reason. And I'm surprised neither of these situations got more traction than they did, because these were from both of their official pages. And I'll say allegedly just to make sure that I put that on myself, because I could be wrong, but I don't think I was. And if I am, then that's the importance of this disclaimer. But both of their Twitter pages, pretty sure. Like, I don't know. I'm surprised both of these situations didn't get talked about much. Even if they were fake, like niggas, the biggest Joe and them, Joe Budden podcast, and sometimes we talking about fake shit, knowing it's fake. Even when they don't know it's fake, they don't correct themselves sometimes. They don't give an excuse, but like we pod. At the end of the day, this is still a podcast. I am an actual journalist, so don't get that twisted. But this is still a podcast. But so before I get to that Kevin Hart shit, so to take it right back to music for a second, so shout out the Effective Immediately podcast. Shout out Gina Views, and shout out DJ Head. So to stay on the topic of going out of your way, he expressed, and he did go on to say that he was joking. He went on to express that there are some DJs in the West Coast area who feel Drake is trying to divide the Bay and Los Angeles with his record Too Hard for the Radio. He dissing Mustard, dissing Kendrick over a West Coast beat. And so he feels and was told by other DJs that they're not trying to really get into that type of mess. And so he said he decided to make an edit. I'm trying to be so nice with this. He made an edit where he removed the disses out of Too Hard for the Radio from Drake. And then you can use that version to play it as you like. I'm so glad Gina, in the nicest way possible, was like, so who is that song for? The people that wouldn't play it anyway? Like, if it was a joke, to give him his word. Because the main thing for me was like, if there's if the DJ Head version is out there somewhere, you wasn't joking, dog. But if I still haven't heard the version, so, and I'm pretty sure Drake stands on Twitter would have clowned him for it with the version. I mean, if there's no proof of it, I guess it was just a terrible joke. Because, dog, if you don't want to play the song, listen, this episode has had a lot of technical difficulties. My bad, y'all. But as I was saying, like, dog, if you don't want to play the song, just don't play the song. If you want to play the song, play the song. Like, I don't understand. I genuinely do not understand the effect Drake has on people sometimes, to where there's this weird polarizing thing around Drake to where he's now becoming this thing to where so many people are claiming not to like him, not to fuck with him, but he still has such a presence in the culture, whether you like him or not, and presence in the music industry to where people are now trying to tiptoe around. Oh well, I can only barely acknowledge Drake, or I gotta fake like I don't like him. I said in this episode, other episodes, listen, Drake go get these jokes, but Drake is still Drake. If you make a good song, it is what it is. You can't act like Drake is actually trash because he's all over the radio and they're still having a conversation to where, oh, how can we still play Drake without actually playing Drake? Because disses and pettiness are not only a part of like a main part of Drake's catalog, but like that's kind of who Drake is. And especially like Gina said, like the target audience for an edit like that would be the people that don't really mess with Drake anyway. So it is what it is. If you just don't like somebody or don't like something, just don't give your energy towards it. And like speaking of Drake, this is at least from how I recorded all this, like breaking news for when I'll put this in here. So um I'm on Twitter again. Twitter is a platform. Everybody business be on social media, but especially Twitter. I'm scrolling before I started back recording, and so allegedly, I'll say alleged because again, just to protect my own ass and its own platform, and I don't know these people in real life, and I'll repeat that point as well later on, and we don't know these people. But speaking of Drake, Sauce Walka, which by the way, at the time of this recording, I feel Sauce Walka has the best hip hop verse of the year so far with that feature on "Stop Snitching" from A$AP Rocky's album. And I wish that was the main thing that was in the news. It was such a great verse, especially when it dropped. But allegedly or apparently, Sauce Walka, there was a leaked phone call, and the baby mom ended up posting some other stuff allegedly as well. There was a leaked phone call between Sauce Walka and his baby mom to where apparently Sauce Walka had issued a ton of threats, and I'm gonna try to make my language as good as possible so it won't get demonetized. But Sauce Walka threatened to assault assault via jumping his baby mom because she allegedly fucked Drake. And what's even funnier, again, Janice Shut the Fuck Up is getting a legendary lore. Is getting legendary lore right now because when you think back to the lyrics where he said like tricking on her, got the sauce in the spill. These hoes know how I do it for real. Like that's a crazy. If that was about Sauce Walka and Sauce Walka baby moms, and then this came out to where he found out, and then now the leaked phone call of him being so mad that he fucked his baby mom to the point where he wants to, because she claimed he's assaulted her in this phone call, and he's his response was, I've never put my hands on you, but I didn't got you jump before, and I can do it again. I don't give a. I'm sitting here like, oh, okay, all right, none of my business. And like, I don't get this. Is what I said about the effect Drake has on people earlier, because the main thing this nigga Drake is known for and known to be disliked for is fucking other niggas' women. So then when Drake act like niggas don't have an understandable reason to have a problem with him, it blows my mind. What I will say though is there were some people that actually made some good points on Twitter, and somebody was like, "Man, this just truly shows that niggas will literally threaten your life." Because he also said and let me not forget this part. He mentioned that he would get Drake's car. He would get Drake's car shot up in after finding out this information. And then somebody on Twitter, I think it was, I don't want to, put that on just in case he didn't. I don't remember if this is exactly what it was, but they tweeted like, "This truly shows niggas will take your life over pussy that is not even theirs." And it's his baby mama, so it's all the conversation. But if they're not currently together, for that nigga to be that upset, for Drake to be that petty, dog, it's like, why? You know the main reason why men don't like you in the industry is because you keep fucking that girl. What is this? What is that nigga obsession with fucking other people's? And again, she's not owning him just because she's a baby mom. If they're not together and they had sex, they're adults. Sauce Walka, if that's the case, is tripping. But she proceeded after. You would think this story ends here. The baby mom proceeded afterwards to post about how, because I guess in the argument and in their debacle, he was saying like, "I can get this done. I'm the richest rapper in Houston." Da, da, da. She posted that nigga bank account, and while he got more money than me, it's it was like the most. It was 3 separate accounts. Which, by the way, he's a rapper. He can have multiple accounts, so this really don't really do anything. I don't understand why she did this either. But it was like a screenshot of three accounts under one bank, and then the most one of the accounts has like 16,000. Which, hey, I ain't gonna scoff at nobody that got 16K, but I guess her point was to try and make him emasculate him or make him look like he got less money than he actually do, which he's a rapper. So a lot of rappers fake the status they have. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but a lot of rappers do that. But I guess that was her point. So my point in this, other than just potting, is especially with the topic I'm gonna end with after this, because like I'm Kevin Hart lucky the first version of me talking about this got cut, but we end the pile with that. But um it's really unfortunate to see black men in this light, just like I was talking about with Kendrick Perkins and all the other shit, because at least in Perk example, and it's one thing at least in Perk's example where according to his side, he's defending his honor and his team and son's honor. Sauce Walka, allegedly, if this is true, literally is threatening to beat a woman again or threatening to get her harmed a second time. Saying he go shoot up somebody's car, like very damning things to be found online, and to then have your business put out there by the baby mom. This is a lot of stuff that should not be brought to the internet, and ironically, I'm on the internet talking about it. But these type of things would really be better off handled in private. And these people probably, who knows, because she proceeded to post that nigga bank information, so who knows? But they probably didn't want this type of information out, but they got leaked somehow. So it is what it is. It gives me shit to pot about. But man, it just really sucks to see couples, black men, people going through stuff like this, and then especially somebody like Sauce Walka, who's very talented. Again, a lot. It's been some verses to come out this year, and if please go listen to ASAP Rocky's album, "Don't Be Dumb," and then "Stop Snitching." The whole song fire, but Sauce Walka verse, that nigga said, uh, trying to, too many women. She, what he said? Uh, I got women from something to something. There's too many choices in here. She got 2 million for leaving her husband. I got her divorce in my ear. She got 2 million for leaving her husband. I got her divorce in my ear. Like the earrings cost 2 million. Crazy. But wish the best for that whole situation for Sauce Walka and the young lady. Um, a lot of questionable choices from a lot of the people that I've discussed in this podcast today, and no choice comes off more questionable and interesting in a bad way than Kevin Hart's response to the criticism Tony Hinchcliffe has been getting for making a racist joke or making a joke about a black man who was killed by police at Kevin Hart's roast. Tony Hinchcliffe is, in my and a lot of others' opinion, is a racist comedian who's made jokes about Kamala Harris. And at Kevin Hart's roast, that was a while ago, he made a George Floyd joke. And it wasn't even, again, the joke, people who like dark humor, I'm someone who likes dark humor, is one thing to be into dark humor. But everybody has their own limit of what they do and do not find funny. And there was no setup to the joke. He just said, "Oh, George Floyd couldn't breathe." Like it was an awful attempt at a awful joke, regardless, and distasteful joke. And so Kevin Hart was receiving backlash for that because he was the one who put together the roast, invited people, chose who to be there allegedly, and also allegedly made it be known like don't tell certain jokes. And so people were giving him criticism and asking like, well, why would you even allow him to make that joke? Do you like that joke? How do you feel about that? Et cetera, et cetera. And he was recently on the Breakfast Club, and I just don't understand how this could have been Kevin Hart's response. He went on the Breakfast Club to talk about how, I mean, it is what they do. It's what those type of comedians do. I mean, it is what it is. And then Charlemagne, I'm very glad he did this. Charlemagne asked him very directly, "Do you feel it was too far for Tony Hinchcliffe to make that George Floyd joke?" Kevin Hart's response was like, "I mean, it's Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, I mean, what do you want to do?" Like, and then Charlemagne again asked him, like, "So you're kind of saying like the point is to go too far?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't take, it should not be difficult for anyone of their community, especially a black man of the black community, to defend us as people and defend the community and call out a joke for being too far and call out a white man for telling a racist joke or telling a racist comedian, someone who's been deemed a racist comedian by black people and even some fellow comedians who are white. Like, I think Shane Gillis called him racist. It's not hard to say, yes, that joke was too far. You know why he can't do that? Because he probably didn't feel it was too far. He got on another black platform and defended a white man telling a joke about George Floyd when he was literally, allegedly, they saw pictures of that man. He was at George Floyd's funeral. And people try to do the dumb shit where they be like, "Oh, well, black people laugh at certain things. Why can't white people make certain jokes?" Or, "Oh, you laughed at a Charlie Kirk joke." People are trying to do that too. Y'all laughed at a Charlie Kirk joke. Why y'all can? Charlie Kirk was a racist who went out of his way to talk badly about black people and black women and George Floyd. George Floyd was a random black man killed by police. There's no parallels. There's no comparison. And the message I'm going to leave you all with today is, especially if you're black, and even if you aren't black and you're in your own community, there should be no acceptance on people making jokes, especially racist jokes, to harm your community. And I just was in a previous episode, even though Drake's a hypocrite, praising Drake for calling out DJ Khaled for being Palestinian and not saying free Palestine and not being able to. Even when he's asked about it, all the stuff that's been going on, you can't even speak up for your own community, especially when your community is expressing outrage and asking you, Kevin Hart, to be like, "Hey, at least criticize it a little bit so we can give you the benefit of the doubt." Be like, "All right, you know, he had to do what he had to do. It was the event. He was on camera. He just gave a little nervous laugh, and he's gonna at least just say it was a bit much later." That's all he had to say. He didn't have to call Tony Hinchcliffe a bad comedian. He was asked very directly, "Did he feel the joke was too far?" And he couldn't even provide a yes or no, but he pretty much defended Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, I'm not really exaggerating his words that he used. If you go look at the clip, it's on the Breakfast Club. It's out there. And there are certain words that I'm going to refrain from using because Kevin Hart is still a black man, but it paints him in a certain way when he tries to attempt to gaslight people, black people who are upset at that joke, upset that a white man made that joke, and upset that the black man who hosted that event laughed at it and then didn't have anything to say about it until he defended the white man. I talk about on this platform, especially with the title of this platform, to just talk about what's on your mind. And when black people are expressing the things they feel and talk about how there's someone outside the community that's attempting to harm us and you guys are allowing them to do so, that's the main problem. Unfortunately, racism, I heard somebody say racism there may never be a way to get rid of it. And as much as we can call out Tony Hinchcliffe and call that nigga a racist trash comedian, there's nothing we can do to change racist or white people or people's minds who already have a certain feeling about us as black people and about certain people as black people. And especially you can't talk to no comedians who be like, "Jokes is jokes. They're just jokes. Not that deep." Like, you can't talk to those people like that. But when you're within the community and when you're trying to express and we're trying to express hurt and harm and discomfort from something, and then the immediate response is to try and gaslight us and make us not feel we shouldn't, and make us feel we shouldn't feel that way because it's a roast. That's what they're do. That's what those type of comedians do. It's Tony Hinchcliffe putting your shoulder, shrugging your shoulders. That says a lot about how he views the black community. And how I view the black community is that the only way to like being black is to, the only way to correctly be black is to like being black, is to love being black. And if you love your blackness, you would not be okay with somebody like Tony Hinchcliffe making a joke like that. And if you love your blackness, not, I'm speaking in general now, not to Kevin Hart, not to anybody in particular. If you love being black, it is okay to express that. And it is okay to call out when you feel harm or discomfort from someone outside our community, making, even if it's within the community, making a comment that harms you, not only your feelings, but your race, your melanin. Don't ever let nobody disrespect your melanin. Period. And with that being said, I'm really grateful for you guys for giving me this platform. Like I always say, I'm just very grateful to be able to do this, to be able to pod, be able to look at my phone, have my tripod set up. Very, very easy setup, just in my apartment, being able to pod with you guys. And I'm very grateful for you guys listening to me. This episode has some technical difficulties, but I'm gonna make sure I try to get this up. And hey, especially if I get this up Monday, but even if I get it up Tuesday, pretty much week back to back pods from one week to the other. Listen, we going from 2 months, 3 weeks, 1 week. I'm trying to get at least 2 episodes a week, trying to get there. But I'm really grateful for you guys being on this journey, listening to me, being a part of this platform, and please never hesitate to tell me what's on your mind. Thank you guys, and I'll see y'all soon.